is one book in the Bible that the name of it is kind of deceiving. The name is Judges, and in our mind, the thinking of Judges is judges. In other words, you go to court, and there's a guy with a black robe with a wooden hammer in his hand, and so on. But the judges of the time of the Bible were really the leaders of the people. And they were probably extremely crucial leaders of the people of Israel, because they came to the leadership in one of the most sensitive moments in the life of the early people of Israel in the land, and that is when around them the local people, the Amalekites, the Midianites, the Ammonites, the mosquito bites, the Canaanites, okay, were still sort of biting at the territory and the land of the people of Israel. In some cases, they even succeeded. As we read in the Bible, there were some battles that were lost, there were some battles that were won. The people of Israel are sort of still struggling in two dimensions. One, to create people out of themselves, because in many cases they still behave as tribes rather than people, okay, rather than a nation that is united and so on. It took only a king. It took Saul and later on David, specifically David, that really established what we call the United Kingdom of Israel, and in a way the people of Israel. But up until then, they were still struggling in battle between one to another. And one of those judges, who was, in my opinion, an extremely smart man, maybe one of the father of commando warfare, his name is Gideon. And Gideon sees, as the Bible vividly described to us, that the Midianites are located in the valley on the foot of the Moreh hill. Here's the Moreh hill. In fact, the Bible tells us that the Midianites were on the north side of the spring of Harod. We call it Harod, but it's Harod. Here's north, here's the Moreh hill. Okay? It's almost there. You can almost feel that the valley is filled with camps upon camps upon camps of the Midianites who are dressed, who are ready for battle. And Gideon knows that the riffraff that we call Israel is not really ready for a war, and he needs to do something special. So he decides to do a selection, and he brings the people of Israel into the spring of Harod. Most of them are guys who just came from their fields. Most of them are people that just came from their sheep, from their businesses, from their law firms, from their doctor office, from the computer designer's office, and so on. They're not really warriors, and he needs to select a very special group of people. And he does the water selection, as we're going to read in the Bible in a few minutes. And instead of running and fighting head-to-head against the Midianites, what does he do? He guerrilla war against them. He filled up buckets or jars with torches and fire and hammers and drums, and he runs with the fire through the camp of the Midianites in the middle of the night, scared the hell out of them, and chased them away from here. Victory, another one of the series of victory, was completed for the people of Israel. Okay? The site itself is authentic. This is the spring of Harod. This is the north. This is the Moreh hill. You can almost feel the people of Israel coming from all directions, drinking and licking the water, and trying to be selected to be the fighters for the country.
Good. Thank you. One of the things I love about this particular story of Gideon, I think, you know, as George has said, he's just like us, and he struggled with, I think, the thing that's most endemic to human nature, and that's a sense of insecurity. Because when the angel of the Lord, you remember, appeared to him, he basically tried to run away from the responsibility that was being heaped upon him. He said, I'm from the smallest tribe, I'm from the smallest family, and I'm the run of the family in the small tribe. So, you know, he made every excuse about saying that, Lord, I'm not the right one for that. And yet, isn't that just like God? He always chooses people that the world maybe would not have chosen, and that way God gets the glory when he does something through us that we know in our heart there's no way that it took place through me. And so at the end of the day, Gideon knew and everyone else knew that God was the one that made this thing happen. And so after he finally sort of quits running, he's said that he would basically do what God's asked him to do. And now let's read in Judges 7. Early in the morning, Gideon and all of his men camped at the spring of Harod. The camp of Midian was north of them in the valley, where we have just had it pointed out, near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, you have too many men for me to deliver Midian into their hands. Not exactly what you'd think a military man saying. Gideon was probably thinking, I don't have enough. God's saying, you got too many. In order that Israel may not boast against me that her own strength has saved her, announce now to the people, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead. So 22,000 men left while 10,000 remain. That's a pretty serious desertion right up at the beginning. But the Lord said to Gideon, there's still too many men. Take them down to the water, and I will sift them for you there. If I say, this one shall go with you, he shall go. But if I say, this one shall not go with you, he shall not go. So Gideon took the men down to the water. There the Lord told him, separate those who lap the water with their tongues like a dog from those who kneel down to drink. 300 men lapped with their hands to their mouths. All of the rest got down on their knees to drink. The Lord said to Gideon, with 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all of the other men go, each to his own place. So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites to their tents, but kept 300 who took over the provisions and the trumpets of the others. And so God separated them.